Hi, welcome to Reddit Tea Time. So I, 21 female, and my boyfriend, 23 male, have only been dating for around 2.5 months. And yesterday we were at my apartment. My place is in a very old building, so it gets quite cold, which I'm used to, but my boyfriend isn't. Because it's summer, he's wearing shorts and a t-shirt, but I'm in joggers and a long sleeve top. Some context before I continue. I work in retail and the shop I work for has a men's department. The clothes are way overpriced, especially for the quality they're paying for. But as I am sure everyone knows, men's clothing is always better quality and where I work, even a bit cheaper. Last winter the new stock came in and in it was this hoodie. It was so soft and so comfy, and oh my god, the quality of it is so good. And because I get a 35% staff discount, I finished work that day, leaving with a lovely new hoodie for only 23 pounds. And I got it in extra large, so it's super oversized and cozy. But anyway, while we're watching a movie, he says that he's getting a bit cold, so I go to my room and get him my hoodie. When I come back out and give it to him, he looks confused and kind of pissed off, so I asked him what's wrong and he says, "Where the F did you get this from?" I kinda just looked at him and laughed because I thought he was joking, but it only made him more mad and he starts having a go at me asking why I've still got an ex's hoodie and how dare I give it to him to wear. I was so shocked by his outburst because he hasn't acted like that before. He's usually so sweet and kind, and when I told him it wasn't an ex's, he asks if it's another guy's that I've been seeing behind his back. When I showed him that it was from the place I work, he then accuses me of buying it for another guy but keeping it after we broke up. I kept telling him that I bought it for myself, but his response is always, "Why would you buy a men's hoodie when there are women's hoodies where you work?" Eventually, he just tells me to F off and leaves. I've texted him a few times, but he keeps leaving me on red and sending my calls straight to voicemail. It's been aerial silence since he left my place, apart from one text that says he doesn't want to see me anymore if I won't get rid of my hoodie. This is so out of character for him. He's never acted like this before, even when we've spoken about our exes, and I'm so confused. Half my friends are saying that I should just throw my hoodie away or give it to charity, and the other half are saying to break up with him. I love my hoodie and I don't want to throw it away, but I really like this guy and my heart hurts when I think about it being over. So please help me. Am I the bonehead? Now for some comments. What the F? You mentioned more than once that this is out of character for him. It is his character. After only 2.5 months of dating, you discovered two enormous red flags: jealousy and verbally abusive anger. The purpose of dating for many people is to find a partner. Is this the case for you? If so, you need to have more boxes on your checklist of what makes an acceptable partner than 1. Is breathing and 2. Has a penis. This is not at all your fault, and don't twist yourself into a pretzel to make him happy. People like this will never be happy. Not the bonehead. When people show you who they are, petty, jealous for no reason, controlling, believe them. Keep the hoodie, dump the guy. That hoodie sounds amazing. As a victim of abuse, yes, don't ignore the red flags because he's never acted like this before. His mask is slipping off, and this is the normal time for that to happen, as most people can only manage for 3 months. Run away fast. Block him. This is a red flag. He's pitching a fit and calling you a liar over clothing. My 25 female boyfriend, 34 male, and I have been dating for 7 months now, and things with him have been overall good. He's a great guy, and honestly, this has been a complete 360 compared to previous relationships I've had. The only issue I really have is his friendship with, let's call her B, who I recently found out is only 17. I've known of B for a while now, considering they talk a lot through text, but it has never really bothered me because he always makes me feel validated and reassured. However, a couple of weeks ago, I went out with some of my girlfriends, and after a couple of drinks, the topic of B came up, and I realized that I hadn't really known about her or how they met. So after my boyfriend came to pick me up, I decided it would be a good idea to ask him about her once we got back to my place. Well, I was wrong. The conversation quickly escalated into me being jealous and accusatory, and that she's just a friend and he would never see her that way, especially because she's only 17. I was left speechless, not only at his reaction to me bringing her up, but to the fact that she was underage. Despite this, I tried to calmly reassure him that I wasn't coming out of a place of jealousy. but simply because I wanted to know more about his friendship with B, considering she seems to be an important part of his life. However, this didn't seem to matter at all, as he completely shut down and ended up leaving angrily that night. I was completely crushed by that night, and safe to say I cried myself to sleep. The next day, I felt terrible about how we left things and reached out to him to apologize for how things transpired. He also apologized for how he reacted and reassured me that she's just a friend and that's just that, and that I shouldn't read more into it. We left it at that, and things have been relatively back to normal now. He still talks to B constantly, and if I'm being honest, this makes me uncomfortable due to what I know now. I know he's being honest about the nature of their relationship and that there's nothing inappropriate going on, but I can't help but feel like it's wrong. I've been wanting to bring it up again, as I still don't know much about her, but I honestly don't think I can handle another blowout, especially over something as dumb as this, but I also can't help but feel my stomach drop every time I see her name pop up on his phone. I just can't understand what a 35-year-old guy could possibly have in common with a 17-year-old, much less to talk about at the rate that they do. Am I wrong for feeling this way? Note: my boyfriend used to work as a photographer on the side to make extra money before we met. However, he hasn't really done this anymore due to his new job being more time-consuming. My best guess is that he met B through this, but again, I truly have no idea how they met, nor how long they've known each other. Edit: I've been reading all your comments and appreciate your feedback. As far as some of the questions I've been seeing around, I highly doubt B is his daughter, considering that he has a 10-year-old daughter from a previous relationship. He's always been honest about the fact that he has a kid, so if B was his daughter, I don't see a reason for him to hide it. Another thing I saw was that maybe he met B through an online gaming community, which, to be honest, I never thought of. He does occasionally play, and maybe that could be where he met B. However, are these types of things normal in gaming communities? I've never been big on games, much less online games that involve interacting with other people. But if that's the case, then maybe their friendship stemmed from that? Now for some comments. I mean, just look at it logically. Do you have any 17-year-old friends? Do you get defensive and angry when asked about your friends? Do you refuse to elaborate on your friendships with said friends? Not the bonehead, but you definitely need to get a straight answer out of him. I don't know. I'm 47 and have a 17-year-old friend who is a girl. Wait, that's not it. I'm her father. She's not my friend, she's my child. And I'd have some serious questions for any 35-year-old male that thought he was her friend. Probably put to him at gunpoint, as I'm fairly protective of my kids. There is no way at 35 my best buddy was a 17-year-old girl. Nor would I have dated someone 10 years younger than me, because we would just be at different places in our lives. Honestly, your boyfriend is giving off creep vibes, not the bonehead. His fit throwing and refusal to speak about it are huge red flags. OP, putting aside the specifics, there's one thing I want you to focus on. You asked him a question about his friend. He blew up, made accusations about your behavior, and stormed out. Will you ever again feel comfortable asking him about anything that you feel uncertain about? His massive overreaction stops honest and open communication between you. Do you think that's maybe a little manipulative? Do you think it maybe gives him the freedom to do whatever the hell he wants because you'll be afraid to say anything? You'll find yourself second-guessing yourself, asking if this or that is important enough to fight about, and you'll stop bringing things up, letting him get away with worse and worse behavior. And every time you do speak up, he'll overreact, and then he'll love bomb you so you'll stay, and you'll let him get away with even worse behavior. Here's what's worse. You'll expand this behavior beyond him. You'll let other people get away with bad behavior without speaking up, and then you'll finally figure you're not worth being treated with respect. It will affect your professional life, your income, and pretty much everything else. Is that what you want? There's a reason he doesn't date women his own age. He can't manipulate them this way. I know the title sounds bad, and to be honest, I don't think that it really accurately fits the situation, but that is what everyone is saying I did. This happened at a family get-together that included some neighbors and family friends. I was there with my husband and 7-month-old son. We really don't attend things like this, but we made an exception because we really wanted to reconnect with a few family members who drove in from out of state. I was sitting by the pool giving my son some of his teether snacks, and his favorite are these banana teether crackers. Important later. A woman that I didn't recognize came up to me and we started talking. She told me that she was 6 months pregnant and we were just talking about pregnancy, hormones, babies, and I felt like it was an overall normal conversation. I found out she was the girlfriend of a distant cousin, which is why she was invited. Out of the blue, she started to go off on a tangent about processed foods and was saying that the teethers are essentially poison for my son. She started to get loud when I disagreed and reached over as if she was going to take the snacks out of my son's hand. I stood up and let her know I was uncomfortable with the direction the conversation had taken and excused myself and my son to go find someone I knew or my husband. I had just found my husband, who was inside talking to his siblings, and started telling him about the crazy conversation outside when the woman came in from behind me and snatched my son's teether snack out of his hand. We all stood there in shock for a second. Then she goes, "You'll thank me for this. It's really what's best for your baby." Then shoved the snack into her mouth, baby slobber and everything. She chewed for a few seconds, then sort of froze and asked if it was banana. When I said yes, she started panicking and shouting that she was severely allergic. I couldn't really help it, but I started cracking up. Everyone was rushing around trying to help her, but I was focused on getting my son calmed down from having his snack stolen by an adult. To me, it was just instant karma, so me and my husband used the chaos to sneak out without saying anything to anyone. She ended up having to go to the ER, but was ultimately okay. However, my reaction was not missed by others, and we've had a few people reach out to call me a horrible person for laughing at a pregnant woman who was having a medical emergency. They're distant relatives, so it doesn't really impact us, but am I the bonehead? I really don't feel guilty for laughing at a woman who literally stole food out of the hands of a baby. Edit. A few people have mentioned that it sounds like the woman was focused on conspiracies or asked if she said anything else strange. My husband and I had a long conversation on the way home, and he had asked if she said anything else out of the norm. There were a few off-the-wall comments she made that kind of got glossed over. For example, my son was watching a bird and she said that birds aren't real. According to my husband, there's a theory that the birds are just spies for the government. And she also mentioned a few other things that seemed on topic at the time, but looking back seemed strange. Vaccines have trackers in them. I thought she was joking because I had made a joke about my phone listening to our conversation, because every time I open Amazon, I see something I was just talking about. I'm sure they seem like bright red flags to others, but I'm not the best with social cues, and I frequently make off-the-wall jokes that some people won't get. I figured she was the same way. Why would she eat it if she thought it was poison? Beats me, there was a trash can within a few feet of her. My husband thinks she was having a pregnancy craving, haha. I'm also fairly certain she saw the banana on the packaging. She didn't start on her tangent until she saw me open a new package of the treats. But it's fairly visible, but I can't say if the photo was facing her or not. I'm getting more info from my sister-in-law, and a lot of things aren't adding up for me. For example, the woman didn't have an EpiPen, but why wouldn't she if she had a severe allergy to something so common? Apparently, no one saw her having a reaction before the boyfriend drove her to the ER, but I know not all allergic reactions show the same way. Finally, I really wish this was fake. We've been dealing with voicemails and texts from extended family all week on top of our baby who is going through a sleep regression. We are functioning on maybe 3 hours each. I'm not going to go on a tangent, but there's a reason my husband and I try to avoid these family get-togethers. Drama. There's always some major something that happens at the family gatherings. We only went because we wanted our son to meet his aunts and uncles, who he's also seen on FaceTime since they live out of state. My son and I were only outside because he was getting overwhelmed by all the people in the house, but my husband really wanted to talk to his siblings that he hasn't seen in person for years, so I told him to stay inside. He has some oddballs in his family we try to avoid in general. Now for some comments. Okay, so after managing 2 kids with severe food allergy, I'm left wondering what she was thinking. Besides taking food from a child, besides harassing OP for feeding your child a biscuit, besides following you and your son to continue to cause a scene, this idiotic woman, who knows she's severely allergic, grabbed food and shoved it in her mouth without checking. We read ingredients on everything. You weren't laughing at a pregnant woman in medical distress. You were laughing at a person who is so convinced that their point of view is the only point of view that she created a scene and caused herself problems. If you stood there pointing and laughing as she was gasping for air, then it would be different. You laughed, most likely because of the absurdity of the situation. Then you left, not the bonehead. So no one is calling her out for stealing from a baby. I'd have laughed too. She deserved it for stealing someone else's food because she thought she knew better. This is the one case that I have to agree with you. What a nut. Who snatches a baby's snack and eats it to show you it's bad for you? Well, excuse you for not warning the food snatcher as to what she was stealing. Glad she didn't die, but she deserves something for that behavior. What do you think? Please let me know in the comments below. If you like these stories, please consider subscribing. Hopefully, I'll see you in the next Reddit story. In the meantime, please take care of yourself. Bye for now.